Hello students, in this video lecture I am going to cover MCQs related to engineering curves. So let's start with question 1. The section cut by a plane on a right circular cone is called as. We have a right circular cone. A section which is to be cut on the cone could be anyway. Suppose if we cut the cone parallel to the axis, or if we cut the cone at particular angle or at any other angles. So in this case, whatever the shape which you will get will be what it can be considered as the conic section. Now let us understand which kind of shapes you can get. So suppose if we have a cone and if we cut the cone parallel to the base. Parallel to the base means parallel to the base which is circular. So the shape which you will get over here will be a circle. Okay, so the shape which you will get over here is the circle. Now suppose if you have a cone and if you cut the cone at an angle and which will cut the cone at two of the generator. So this slant line of the cone, these two slant line of the cone is called as a generator. So we have cut the cone in a such a way that it will crosses the generator, then the shape which you will get is equal to the ellipse. Now this ellipse, circle, parabola, hyperbola, they all are what? They are considered as the conic sections. Okay, so over here the shape which you will get is ellipse in which the cutting plane cuts the generator. Let us understand how to get a parabola. We have a cone and if we cut the cone parallel to one of the generator, this is a generator of the cone and this cutting plane is parallel to the generator, then in that case the shape which you will get at this cutting section, that shape will be equal to what? It will be equal to the parabolic section. So you will get a parabolic section over here, right? Once you will cut the cone, you will get a parabolic shape over here across the cutting plane. And if there is a conic section, let's say that this is the axis of the cone, and if we cut the cone parallel to the axis, then the shape which you will get over this cutting section, it will be equal to what? It will be equal to hyperbola. Understood? So these all are the sections which is cut by the plane on a cone. Fine. So the section cut by plane on the right circular cone is considered as conic sections. Which of the following is a conic sections? Conic sections include circle, ellipse, parabola and hyperbola. One more, which is triangle, right? So in this case the answer is option A, which is circle. Square, pentagon, rectangle, they can't be obtained from the conic sections. So the answer for this question is circle. While cutting, if the plane is at an angle and it cuts all the generator, then the conic form is. So let's say that in a cone, the cutting plane is at an angle and it cuts all the generator. So we have a two generator, 1 and 2. It cuts the two generator, then the shape which you will get over here is ellipse. If the plane cuts at an angle to the axis but does not cut all the generator, then what is the name of the conic? It does not cut all the generator, means it cuts one of the generator, right? So consider a cone and it cuts one of the generator, then the shape which you will get is nothing but parabola, right? So this is the cutting plane and it does not cut both the generator, it cuts only one generator. When the plane cuts the cone at an angle parallel to the axis, as I told you that there is a cone and this is the axis of the cone. If we cut the cone parallel to the axis, then the shape which you will get over here is hyperbola. Which of the following is not a conic section? In this case, ellipse, parabola, hyperbola, they all are the conic sections. However, apex is not the conic sections. Apex is considered as the top point of the cone, but it is not a conic section, right? The locus of the point moving in a plane such a way that the distance between a fixed point and a fixed straight line is constant, and it is called as what? It is considered as conic, right? So it is considered as conic. You need to remember this definition, that is a locus of point moving in a plane such a way that the distance between a fixed point, that fixed point is considered as focused and the fixed straight line is considered as directrix. right? Then we will get various kinds of locus of points, and this locus of points could be ellipse, parabola or hyperbola, which is nothing but they are the conics. The ratio of distance vertex from the focus to the distance vertex from the directrix is called as eccentricity. Yes, it is called as eccentricity. This is the definition of eccentricity, which says that it is the ratio of distance vertex from the focus and to the distance vertex from the directrix. Right, to understand this, consider a directrix and there is a focus. So this is a focus point, and this straight line is called as directrix. Right, now if I draw ellipse over here, then if I take the ratio, if I take any one point on the ellipse and take the distance PF, that is the distance of point from the focus upon the distance of the same point from the directrix, that is PF by PD. So PF by PD is nothing but the eccentricity of the ellipse. Which of the following conics has an eccentricity equal to unity? E is equal to 1 in case of parabola. For ellipse, eccentricity will be less than 1. For hyperbola, it will be greater than 1. Which of the following has eccentricity less than 1? So we have an ellipse whose eccentricity is less than 1. If the value of eccentricity is 12, then what is the name of the cone? In this case, eccentricity is greater than 1. So the answer for this is hyperbola. A plane is parallel to the base of the regular cones and cut in the middle. Then the cross section is, it will be what? It is parallel to the base. So we have a cone and the cross section cuts parallel to the base. So the section which is over here is nothing but circle. The curve which has zero eccentricity is circle. Question 14. Rectangular hyperbola is one of the hyperbola, but the asymptotes are perpendicular in case of rectangular hyperbola. Yes, true. We have asymptotes perpendicular. Asymptotes is a tangent line which touches to the curve at infinity. So these are the two tangent line, and this is the rectangular hyperbola. So you can say that these two tangent lines will touches to the curve at infinity. So they are considered as asymptotes. Which of the following is incorrect about an ellipse? Eccentricity is less than 1. It is correct. It has two vertex point. It is also correct. If a plane is parallel to the axis of the cone and cuts the cone at a section, it gives an ellipse. No, this is wrong. If we cut the cone parallel to the axis, this is the axis, then the shape which you will get is hyperbola, not ellipse. Which of the following is an eccentricity of the ellipse? Eccentricity E of the ellipse is less than 1. So which of the following is less than 1? Option C, 2 by 3. In a general method of drawing an ellipse, a vertical line is called as directrix. In a general method of drawing an ellipse, after parting the line joining the directrix and the focus, dash is made. So let's say that there is a vertical line, there is a focus point, and from this focus point if I draw one horizontal line, then the intersection of the directrix and the parting line, this point is called as vertex. Fine. So over here we will see that it is a vertex. An ellipse is defined as a curve traced by a point that has sum of the distance between any two fixed point always remains same in the same plane. True. Right. So ellipse is defined as the curve traced by a point such a way that the sum of the distance between the two fixed point always remains same in the plane. In an ellipse we have two focus, f1 and f2. Let's say that this is an ellipse and there are two focus point f1 and f2. If we considered any point on the ellipse and if we measure the distance of the point from f1, then that distance is pf1, and if we measure the distance of the point from the second focal pf2, then we have two distance from the same point P, that is pf1 and pf2, and this distance, that is pf1 plus pf2, it always remains constant and it is equal to the major axis of the ellipse, okay. An ellipse has how many foci? It has two foci. If the information about the major and minor axis of the ellipse is given, then how many methods in which we can draw the ellipse? Then we can draw the ellipse by 5 methods. Which are these 5 methods in which we can draw the ellipse. First is concentric circle method. Concentric circle method. Second is arc of circle method. Arc of circle method. Third is rectangle method. Fourth is parallelogram method. Parallelogram method. And fifth is what? Four center method. Four center method. Right. So when major and minor axis is given, then with this help of 5 methods we can draw the ellipse. Question 22. In an arc of circle method, the foci of an ellipse is constructed by drawing arcs with the center as one of the dash axis and the radius equal to the half of dash axis. Now in case of the arc of circle method, the foci is constructed. How to construct the foci? Let's say that we have a major axis, and from the midpoint of the major axis we have a minor axis, right? So CD is the minor axis and AB is the major axis. Now we need to construct the focus. So how to construct the focus? Let's say that the intersection of major and minor axis is O. Then we need to take the distance half of the major axis. OA is equal to what? This distance OA is equal to half of the major axis. So take the distance OA, take C as a center, and with the rounder and the distance in the rounder as half of the major axis and C as a center, make a cut. So once you make a cut, you will get a focus over here. Fine. So the focus point are what? They are constructed with one of the ends of the minor axis and the radius equal to the half of the major axis. Fine. The loop of thread method is practically the application of what? It is the application of arc of circle method. Now what is the loop of thread method? To consider the loop of thread method, consider 2 points F1 and F2. 2 points F1 and F2. Now we have a string. We have a string or a thread. Let's say that the string or a thread is like this. There is a pencil over here. And if we revolve the pencil, and these are the two strings, then you will get an ellipse, right? So this is similar to what? It is similar to arc of circle method, right? So you need to remember that loop of thread method is the practical application of arc of circle method. Which of the following construction uses the parabolic curve? So parabolic curves are found in cooling towers. Which of the following is not belong to parabola? In a parabola, there is nothing like a major axis. Major axis can't be found in parabola. We have a directrix, latus rectum and axis in the parabola, but there is no major axis in the parabola. Major axis is there in ellipse, right? It is not in parabola. The line which touches the hyperbola at an infinite, they are called as asymptotes. Which of the following is the eccentricity of the hyperbola? Eccentricity of the hyperbola is greater than 1, so the answer for this is option B, 3/2. Dash is a curve generated by a point on the circumference of the circle which rolls without slipping on a straight line. So the curve which is generated by a point on the circumference of a circle which rolls without slipping on a straight line. So this curve will be equal to what? It is equal to cycloid. Dash is the curve generated by a point on the circumference of a circle which rolls without slipping along the another circle and outside the other circle. So we have a other circle and there is a rolling circle which rolls outside the other circle, and we need to find out the locus of point which is on the circumference of this rolling circle. So the curve which you will get is similar to what? It is equal to the epicycloid. Fine. So when the circle rolls outside the other circle, then the curve which you will get is equal to what? It is equal to epicycloid. When a curve rolls along the another circle inside it, right? So we have an outer circle and there is a smaller circle which is inside the outer circle and it rolls inside the outer circle. Then the curve which is traced by the circumference by a point which is on the circumference of the rolling circle is equal to what? It is equal to hypotrochoid or hypocycloid, hypocycloid. Dash is a curve generated by a point fixed to a circle with or without its circumference as the circle rolls along a straight line. So that is equal to what? That is equal to the trochoid. It is the curve generated by a point fixed to the circle within or outside the circumference, right? So we have a circle which rolls on a straight line. So a point may be inside or may be outside the circumference. Then in such a case, if the point is inside, it is called as inferior trochoid, and if the point is outside, it is considered as superior trochoid. But in this case, there is nothing mentioned in this question that point is inside or outside. It may be outside or inside. So in this case, the curve which you will get is trochoid. The generating point is outside the generating circle for. The generating point is outside the generating circle in case of superior trochoid. And the generating point is inside the generating circle for inferior trochoid, right? So we have a circle which rolls on a straight line. If the point is inside the circle and if we are tracing the curve of that point, then it is considered as inferior trochoid. And if the point is outside the circle and we are tracing the curve of that outside point, then it is considered as superior trochoid. Next question. The application of cycloid is used to produce. You need to remember the application of cycloid, and it is used to produce the gear teeth. The application of involute is to produce the gear. Fine. So the application of involute and cycloid is to produce the gear teeth. The path which is to be traced by the end of the string while wound around an object is known as. So the path which is traced by the end of the string while wounding around the object. Let's say that that object could be a circle or anything, and if there is a string, if you wound along the object, then the curve which you will get is nothing but involute. Okay. Which of the following represent the Archimedean spiral? Archimedean spiral looks like this. So it is similar to what? It is similar to the mosquito coil, right? Mosquito coil looks like this. The logarithmic spiral is called as equiangular spiral. Yes, it is true. It is also called as equiangular spiral. Match the following. First point, the point above which the line rotate. It is called as what? It is called as pole. Fine. The line joining any points on the curve with its pole, it is called as what? It is called as radius vector. Each complete revolution of the spiral is termed as, what? It is termed as convolution. And finally, the angle between the radius vector and the line in the initial position is called as vectorial angle. To understand this, represent the curve. Let me draw a spiral over here. Fine. So in this case, the point about which the line rotates. So let's say that this is a point about which the line, if we take arrow over here, so this line will rotate across this point, right? It rotates across this point. So this point is called as the point about which the line rotate is called as pole. So this point is considered as pole in case of a spiral. A line joining any point on the curve with its pole is called as what? It is called as radius vector, right? So if there is a spiral over here like this, then this is the pole of this spiral, right? Pole is the center point, and if we draw a line, this point is called as a pole and this line is called as a radius vector. Okay. Now each complete revolution of the spiral, one revolution of the spiral is called as convolution, right? So a revolution in the spiral is called as what? It is called as convolution. And the angle between the radius vector and the line in its initial position is called as. So let's say that this is the line in the initial position. So the angle between the line and the radius vector is called as vectorial angle. Last, the path traced by the point P, which is situated on the rotating link while moving around one end towards the center, it is called as what? It is called as spiral, right? So these are the definitions related to engineering graphics, and you need to remember the definitions of all the curves which are given over here in this chapter. So with this question, I end the video of engineering curves. And if you like this video, then please share it with your friends and subscribe to my channel. Thanks for watching.